believe. It's right to fight for what we want, to live the way we please. As long as we have done our best, then no one can do more.
Sing along at home. It's good. Hello there. Welcome to the Flushing Bloke podcast. It's been a very strange week for us here at The Blade. Let's do the introductions. As you know, you've already met Eddie and Brian far too many times for your own good. That's your problem. It's not mine.
You're very sorry.
Yeah. But with us also, up here in the top right-hand corner, is Mr. Dominic Martin, who I'm...
Hello.
Hello indeed. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure people know you from, the cosplay page.
Yeah, I get about a bit. I do a bit of cosplaying in the Doctor Who community, of course. Outside of that, I'm kind of a nobody.
Spidey. Spidey. You do Spidey.
I do, yes, I do a lot of Spidey. I mean, I do a lot of Mars Morales as well from the new movie. I really love the new movie, but I'll get into a tangent if I speak too much about that, so I'll avoid. I also do bits and pieces of acting and whatnot. I'm kind of... I get about.
People say that about me, but they then put due to the pandemic. Yes. Dominic... I invited Dominic here for a particular reason tonight. However, we're probably going to be asking him to remain with us. Because, and I hate to say this, and he is going to come in for an awful lot of stick over the next few weeks about this. He's young.
Yes. 25. I mean... I will be eventually. I'll eventually find grey hairs. I'm still finding the grey hairs, so
But the whole point about the Flashing Blade, going all the way back to the start when we started with Joe and co, was always to try and get different viewpoints, different ideas. And as I've said all along, I'm the age-old dinosaur with the perceived wisdom and this, that, and the other. It doesn't mean it's right. So it's very useful to have... Hello, Radox! Sorry, love. I was right in the middle of talking then. It's very useful to have a different perspective for some of the stuff we look at. Yeah, and it's going to be nice to have Dominic's viewpoint coming in, especially when we're looking at some of the older stories. Again, hopefully you haven't been exposed to perceived fan wisdom about certain things, and you can just turn around and, well, this is what I thought, rather than this is what Jeremy Bentham thought back in 1981.
Yeah, I kind of like just seeing things for myself and then just examining them from my own perspective.
Yeah, that's good.
Really good, because I come from the rose-coloured specs that is nostalgia as well, so certain things I maybe tolerate.
And Brian's American, so he can't trust him on anything.
I'm a heathen to begin with.
You can't, no excuses for him.
You're a degenerate colonist.
How do you feel about the gunfighters?
The gunfighters, I mean, I haven't seen the gunfighters, so I can't possibly comment only on its reputation, which is not so...
It goes until he's watched the gunfighters, then he can come back. I had to watch the gunfighters. I had to listen to that bloody tune.
No. This is where we, here at the Flashing Blade podcast, open our arms up and with generosity filling our swelling hearts, we turn around and say, it's all right, Dominic, we can review it again.
No. I can't go through that again.
I don't have enough alcohol for this, okay?
You disappoint me, gentlemen. You disappoint me. I shall be withholding your lolly rations.
Change my career to pending alcoholic.
Dominic, it's god awful. Seriously, avoid it for as long as you can. I managed 49 years.
I love it. The song's a pain in the arse, but the actual program is brilliant. It really is.
That's two very contrasting viewpoints there. It's either brilliant or it's god-awful.
Right,
Not entirely sure which one to believe.
Well, you either got perceived fan wisdom dinosaur or rosy red tinted spectacles.
The rosy red tinted spectacles aren't even surviving.
Mind you, saying that, Jeremy Bentham did say that the Gunfighters was the worst story of Doctor Who there had ever been, and he stands by it to this day.
Ooh.
Wrong.
Yes, wrong.
Brutal.
In episode 3, Tommy the barman gets killed off, Dominic, and I really envied him. I wish I was Tommy the barman.
Nearly, Eddie. Nearly. Time it a bit better next time.
I have seen the Gunfighters.
I mean, I saw the episode of Star Trek where they had the gunfight at the OK Corral, and that one has stuck in my memory as being a bit of a... Okay.
That one didn't have a theme song.
A theme song?
The Gunfighters is narrated via song by a song whose lyrics keep changing to reflect what's happening in the programme. The trouble is, it keeps being sung all the way through, all 4 parts. And like I say, the story, it's great fun. It's meant to be a comedy. A little bit grim, but meant to be a comedy. But the song does strange things to people's heads.
It's Doctor Who goes to the dentist. That's
it literally is Doctor Who goes to the dentist.
Goes to the dentist.
And it's bloody hilarious as a result.
Yeah,
Come on, Hartnell's on fire.
Hartnell is giving it his comedic chops and trying his best. Yes, Hartnell's great.
Like I said, we'll review it again, as we apparently are doing.
No,
we are doing it already
sorry.
from the sounds of it, Eddie.
Yeah. It's called reliving, not reviewing.
Flashbacks. Flashbacks.
Yes. Post-traumatic stress disorder.
How to make grown men cry.
Right,
Oh, no.
so I need to do the usual thing. Gentlemen, how has your week been? We'll start in the top left-hand corner with Eddie.
Busy at work, but I was off on Friday and I read a book. That was basically my week in review.
Oh, it's a whole book.
Nearly. Yeah.
Was it soft? Was it chewable? Could you take it in the bath with you?
Yes, it was waterproof. It was lovely. It was great.
That's
No,
nice.
it was Torchwood, Soft Decay, and great book. Well done, Mr. Lane. Really enjoyed it.
I'll let him know.
Thank you.
We are going to reschedule Andy. Don't worry, because Brian and Eddie have put a lot of work into researching him. Something I never do with interviews, so we've missed something special here.
Prep meeting before this.
Yes.
When he was still coming on, so we could get all the questions.
No, it is.
Who's asking what?
It is what it is. Unfortunately, the poor lad's laid up in hospital.
Well, we hope he gets well soon.
Yes, we do.
We hope
very
it's
much
well,
so.
and the questions will be there when he's feeling better.
Yes.
So
I'm hoping
question.
it'll affect his memories so that he can't answer your burning question.
The burning question our viewers want to know.
No, they don't. No, they don't. I know our viewers.
What is your most embarrassing story of Siobhan?
Dish the dirt.
See, I don't think our viewers would want to know such things. Stop
Well, they
looking
can
smug.
comment in our chat room here, or in comments.
We haven't got enough
posted
people
on
in the chat
YouTube.
room at the moment.
Radox is here.
Well, Radox is here, yes, that's true. And the other 2 people are you and Eddie.
Hi, Eddie. Hi, Brian.
Hi, you.
Brian, how has your week been this week?
Well, I watched Life on Mars.
Double plus good.
Yeah.
Good cheers.
We will get
I'll
to
save
it.
my review for when we get there.
We'll get to it because I think, again, this is going to be fascinating. We're looking at different
And,
cultural
you know.
references, influences. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I've got two new Transformers. And
Oh,
everything's good.
Ooh.
and how soon before you're living on the streets?
Oh, no. I just need to get another bookcase. You know that.
I'm talking about
One more
running out of
bookcase.
money.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Which 2 Transformers?
Show him. Show him.
Just
Show him.
Demonstrate.
Turn the camera.
No, I don't have to.
Well,
I
you
can.
don't have to.
They're within arm's reach.
I just thought you might like to actually see what you do have.
See, I got Perfect Effects, Hero, and Net Warrior. They're third-party bots that I've ordered, and they go with My
Oh my
collection.
word! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I ran out of space up on top.
It's like
So-
Gary Russell's shelves.
I need to, fix that. I need to get a
That
third
is a
one.
marvelous collection if
isn't-
I've ever seen one.
It's
Like a
fun.
big collection.
Thank you. I've only been doing it since COVID started in March. So
It's quite funny, the various things all of
okay.
us have been up to during the thing.
I was really bored a couple of times.
So you just
Fair.
gave yourself the endorphin rush of buying something,
Yes.
getting it, building
Yes.
it, putting it on the shelves, and then thinking, now
Well,
what?
I need more.
I need more.
Anymore.
Dominic, how has your week been?
Well, it's been fairly uneventful. Just been really just auditioning for various projects and stuff like that, and just reading and writing bits and I'm just trying to be as creative as I can, so I don't just wither away and shrivel up in boredom.
I
So
still say that basically lockdown has been fandom's greatest hour.
yeah,
More
it
so with
really
them.
has.
More so than the cancellation. Because it's just sent all the creative people in fandom into overdrive. And it's
It
been
really has.
Marvellous. So marvellous.
It's been all these months of just beautiful things coming up, whether they be like little audio skits that are turned made official by the BBC. Well, it depends how you view the Doctor Who lockdown projects. They're kind of official because they came from the minds that made them anyway. So, and you got all the drawings and artworks and fan audios that are being created as well. It's all been extremely sublime in terms of just people just really trying to produce other bits of entertainment for other people, and it's one of the best bits of this fandom that when it does come together, it comes together very, very well.
I still say we have the most imaginative and creative fandom going, quite frankly. Though I will admit, DWM spread the love. A little bit of coverage for some of the other lockdown projects, please. Taking nothing away from what Emily's done, but other people have put their hearts and souls into stuff just to keep people happy. So, bit of credit, huh?
There's a lot of... everybody has really just done amazing works, and I've tried to keep up with as many as I can, personally, but it's... everyone has just really just put their heart into it, and it's just admirable, I'd say.
Okay. Now, I've got a question to ask you. You are known as the Whovian Chaser, am I correct?
Yes, I shortened it to Who Chaser. It just
I'm
sounds
very
snappier these
glad you
days.
did that to get rid of, because it got rid of that awful word. Now then,
Yeah.
you are therefore going to be able to answer me a very interesting question. When Doctor Who came back in 2005, it obviously had a remix of the theme tune, and it had the string arpeggio going through it. Fans called that The Chase. Is it because it sounds a bit like the theme tune to The Chase?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it could have... I would love to say that...
Made sense in my head.
It was... I would love to say that it probably was referenced in that sort of... Because when you put it into that perspective, actually, it does kind of sound like the actual theme to The Chase.
Yeah.
And that is really weird, because
Welcome to my mind.
I'm not sure what Paul Ferreira, who composed the Chase theme tune, was listening to, but I might have some words with Murray Gold now.
It wouldn't be the first time he's nicked stuff, don't worry. Yeah. Song for 10 was a complete rip-off of another, I think there's Northern Soul track, which is a bit different. Yeah, afraid so.
Northern
Sorry.
Soul.
A Northern Soul track, I can't remember what it was called. Ian Levine will be able to tell you, because
Yeah.
he knows he's Northern Soul. Anyway, aside from that, we've got news! Big news!
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it broke today, didn't
Am I
it?
going to say fantastic news, or are we going to avoid the cliche?
Oh, no.
No, you've got to.
Brig Leather's here!
Hey, Brig.
She's watching
Hi,
the
Brig.
X-Men.
Which one?
Oh, we're going to get lost in an X-Men
Which one?
maze now.
Oh, there's a lot of X-Men's.
X-Men 20, according to her. Yes, so Christopher Eccleston has come back to the family. He's doing Big Finish.
With open arms.
The Last Stand. There we go. Brian.
Okay.
Number 3.
I'm sorry.
I cannot wait for this. Oh, interesting. So I'm just reading
Wonderful.
the chat.
Greg, you'd like our Marvel game from yesterday then?
You killed Spider-Man.
Yes, but I was referencing X-Men 190 and 191.
Oh, that's true. You
Comic
were.
books.
However, you killed Spider-Man.
Also Exile 55 to 57.
And
I killed Spider-Man.
And Hercules.
And Hercules.
And yeah.
And Hercules.
And
And the
Mr.
Black
Fantastic.
And Mr. Fantastic.
And Franklin and Valeria. And possibly
You don't know
Susan
that.
Storm.
You don't know that.
No, that's true. And I think Cersei got zapped.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You guys didn't stick around long enough to see that.
Yeah, strange, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean...
How very peculiar that we didn't stay where all the terrible danger was. Ooh, favourite X-Men now, there's a thing.
That's a good question.
Think about it, we need to move on. Right! This week, we are looking at Talons Wing Chiang, we are looking at the Lovecraft invasion, and we are looking at the first episode of Life on Mars. All three of these bring up the issue of racial prejudice. Now, yes, this is why Dominic is here tonight, so that we can have an authentic voice of somebody who has, very sadly, had to live with this. However, we're going to be asking Dominic to stay with us because he's young and we need his views.
We're old.
Sorry?
Oh.
We are old, yes. It
You're
is
only
true.
as old as you feel.
Oh, we're old then. We're very
We're
old.
really old.
I tried.
Can I podcast when I'm
Emotionally,
dead?
though,
Thanks,
we're really kids, but we're old.
No, this is second childhood.
Did you miss the Transformers?
Right
I
then,
admire it.
let's do the usual opening because I feel I should, in the hope that it works. And now, from the world of BBC Television's Doctor Who, it's Doctor Who. Except I hit the wrong one. Shut up at the back there. I can hear you giggling. I can. Dominic, let me introduce you to the standards and professionalism you can come to expect from the Flashing Blade podcast.
We set the bar really low. Don't worry.
We actually put it on the ground, then dug a hole underneath it so we could go under it.
It's more of a trough.
Allows
Yeah.
us a lot more freedom.
Yes, basically. We know that if we try and fail, it doesn't matter. People are used to it. You see?
It's always good to just see the journey, where you're headed, and have fun on the way. And whatever happens, well, that's someone else's problem.
Okay, so the fourth, possibly, Doctor Who and his plucky girl assistant Leela materialise in Victoriana. In the romantic Victoriana of Holmes and Fu Manchu. And, well, before much longer, they see somebody getting, well, looks like killed. They manage to capture one of the guys. They get taken to the police station. Look, it's the Talons of Wen Chiang. You've all seen it. Let's look at the programme itself to start with. All right. Putting aside the problematic issue just for a second, I find it an incredibly enjoyable thing to watch. Jago and Lightfoot, for example. I mean, they're just a joy. They really are. Leela is written really well, and
Yeah.
it is a lot of fun. And I watched it on original transmission. I'm that old. I was a child, so obviously I didn't see any of the problems. And it's only over the years it's crept up on me. So let's turn to Eddie and Brian. One of you can do speaking. without looking at the problematic issue, we will do, but without looking at it, let's have an opinion on the actual story.
Story is really good.
Yeah,
the story. The story's good. Robert Holmes, great writer. Victorian London, we get to see the genesis of the double act that's Jago and Lightfoot. Like you said, Leela is written exceptionally well. Leela's strong, assertive. She's not the shrinking violet. She's a well-written, well-rounded woman who's courageous, is a heroine, absolutely fantastically done. The setting, the scenery, great. It looks lovely. We are talking about it's very atmospheric, and without the troublesome element, it would probably be undisputed one of the best top 10 Doctor Who stories for me.
It's always been up there with Caves and Genesis, always. The question in whatever poll you run, admittedly since the new series came along, it's been pushed down a bit now. Brian?
I'll agree with Eddie. The story, fantastically done, except for some dialogue, but it is what it is. The costuming, amazing. The setting, fantastic. Leela, this is not the damsel in distress companion. This is an active participant, and I love Leela in this. She's very go-getting at it. The plot hook I saw it leading one way, and it went another, and I just wish it went the way I wanted it.
I suspect you've fallen foul of 70s six-parter syndrome, where basically a six-parter in the 70s was a four-parter with an extra 2 episodes added on of extra story, which could take it into a different area.
Possibly. I wanted it. I wanted one of the bad guys to be the master. I'm not gonna lie.
If you look at the extras on the Blu-ray edition, certainly, Philip Hinchcliffe wanted it to be the master. Robert Holmes wanted it to be the master. I tell a lie, I apologise. And Hinchcliffe vetoed it, saying, nope. No, that's it.
They had other plans.
But if you consider what the master looked like last time we saw him in Deadly Assassin.
Right.
You can see where Magnus Greel came from without any shred of thinking.
Oh, yeah.
So let's look at. We can say yes, Talons is a wonderful story. It's one of the classics. However, the main villain is John Bennett in Yellowface. It plays into all the cliches, certainly of Victoriana, or Victorian melodrama, that the Chinese tongs are all the problems. And the question we have to ask is, I suppose, whilst we know it's not acceptable to do that, in context from 1977, how does it compare? When you look at some of the other stuff that was on television at the time, I point to the black and white minstrel show, for example, Love Thy Neighbour. And I still say in Love Thy Neighbour, horrible as it is, the thing was, there was equality there, simply because both men, the black man and the white man, were both as stupid and stubborn as each other. But it was still terrible. And then, of course, curry and chips, dear God. Right, Brig Lovers said, I love the relationship between Leela and Lightfoot, teaching her how to be a lady, but in a fatherly, unjudgmental way. I agree with that, and I'll add a gentlemanly way as well. Dom, let's talk about racial prejudice, love. Yes, I know, that's cheerful, isn't it? Welcome to the Flashing Blade. You've obviously experienced it yourself, and you've had it you've seen it on television. How does watching something like this? How would watching something like this make you feel? I mean, you and I aren't Chinese, obviously, but
yeah, if one was to put it in the our respective areas that we have prejudice in, I mean, when I was a kid, when I first saw Talons for I was about. It was not long after seeing the series one, so I would have been about 12 or 13. I didn't clock on that the Yellowface was Yellowface. I didn't really know until, you're actually a cast, and then you look at pictures of the cast, and then you're like, ah.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that for a good few years. When I was a kid, I just enjoyed it for what it really was. The stereotypes just kind of went over my head.
Yeah.
And I was just enjoying another stunning adventure with the Fourth Doctor and Leela. And
Fourth-ish Doctor.
was
We're not
just-
sure nowadays. Chibnall happened.
Yeah. But I'm going to call him Four. But yeah, I just really... The more the time's gone on, the more you look at it, and the more it becomes a bit like, this... As you said, it is important to look at the context in them. As in, this sort of thing was commonplace back in the 70s, and even right up to the 90s sometimes. And it was just... It is the definition of a product of its time. I remember vaguely, line dialogue being it was either Jago or Lightfoot who referred to ruffians, and then the Doctor would jab saying, well, they're the Chinese ruffians. And nowadays, that is a line that would just make you cringe a bit, because that's...
Do you think possibly
in general,
he was taking the piss out of them by saying that?
in modern... the overall context as the Doctor of a character, I think that's an entirely valid way to look at that particular line. Whether that was the intention back then, I don't know. But with what we know of the Doctor as a character these days, how he evolved by the end of, say, the McCoy era, how he became by the end of the Capaldi era, that line just would not work if the Doctor was actually saying that in mocking people of Earth, because that's not part of his character, because he is an alien being, and he would be kind of view humans with the same brush. That a lot of this can be recontextualized in a way that you can text and be like, but it's all about trying to see it in a way that you can tastefully view the story, really. I mean, certain things you won't be able to get away with the yellow face, but when it comes to the Doctor's character, you can...
Oh, you keep cutting out, Dom.
Oh,
Your voice keeps cutting out. We're having trouble hearing you.
Oh,
You went
we've lost
mute.
sound.
Yep. Sorry, love. You've gone all silent on us.
Hang on, let me just plug that in a bit more.
No,
Is that
there
better?
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yep.
Hello?
Oh, and we've got time delay, boys and girls. We've got time delay. Hooray!
It's
Oh.
the internet. Welcome to it.
Don't worry, Dom. We're used to it.
It's not-
Eddie will
Let me
vanish
switch
at
to
some
my
stage during
data.
this show.
Don't worry, I'll
Eddie
get cut
will
off.
vanish.
within
I'll
10
have to
minutes.
switch to my phone. Don't sweat it. It happens to all of us. I did an entire episode from my phone once.
I mean, I've got to admit, I have trouble watching anything by Graham Lynham nowadays. It's not a deliberate thing on my part. I'm not boycotting him. It's just if I see... It's just if I see something like
You're
that...
stealing my shtick. This is my gimmick. I'm not happy with this.
This is getting a bit like the German General sketch, isn't it, from Smith & Jones? I am the German General who has trouble with his internet connection. No, that is me. Bollocks.
There we go. Hello.
Hello,
Can you-
we have voice.
We
Better?
can hear you.
Oh,
we
wait,
hear
there we
Stonehenge.
go. Oh my goodness.
We can't see you.
Ah,
Oh, you're coming back.
On. There we are.
There
hey.
you go.
People on Twitch are also having trouble
Okay.
with it buffering as well. That's not at my end. I'm sorry, guys. I think that's Twitch. That's the problem. I've just checked all my notifications and everything else like that, and everything's streaming through fine. No drop frames or buffering or anything. So,
I came into this one.
Did anything of what I was saying come through?
yes, yeah, most
No,
of it,
yeah.
practically all of it. Yeah,
Yes.
it's just right at the end. You just sort of.
I came into this older because I didn't watch Pertwee. Sorry, I didn't watch Baker in the first run. Because remember I told you.
No! Look what happened. Look.
Oh,
Hat on. Okay, hat on.
I'm sorry, love.
I'm
Turning
not
around
lovely
and
or
saying
kind
what you
of
just
lovely.
said
do
deserves
one of
that.
these days. I'm going to
Just-
steal that
just-
JPEG. I need you to send that to me.
Just to fill you in, Dominic, right? I was a young kid of the 70s. I watched Pertwee. Pertwee regenerated, and I refused to accept that Doctor Who had changed. So I was a stubborn little brat, and I was quite scared of Baker as well. So I went
Oh,
back,
yeah.
years back. So I mean, UK Gold, Sky started repeating all the Doctor Who's. That's when I saw a lot of Baker's. And when I watched this for the first time, I'm sorry, I've great story and all, everything I said, but some of just the terminology that was used, and I appreciate, yeah, it's of its time, it's the 70s.
When
It's
did
still
you when
much
did you
usable.
see this first?
So this would have been for me probably Sky TV before
UK
Sky Digital,
Gold?
so maybe late 80s, 90s.
The UK Gold run, maybe,
Yeah, UK Gold Run.
or BSB.
UK, well, not BSB, British Sky Broadcasting, yeah, so.
Okay.
And it's, and again, I'm not going to use the terminology that's used, but it's the member of the gang that's in the police station, and the way the sergeant speaks to them.
You talk plenty
we
by and
speak to
by,
them.
eh, Johnny? Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
It's just dreadful.
yeah. And again, part of me when I watched it again for this was I had to look, and I watched the actors, the Asian actors in this, and I just felt how uncomfortable and how embarrassing must it have been for them. And I kind of tried to put myself into the position of, you're a Doctor Who fan, and you're an Asian Doctor Who fan, and you're at school the next day after that episode over a Saturday afternoon. That must have been really conflicting. I mean, again, a lot of things are said around. Oh, it was of its time. Thank God we've learnt, though. Thank God we've moved on.
Well, we're
'cause-
learning.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Some would say that probably in the last year and a half we've probably taken major steps backwards. But
It's the thing
Oh,
of.
I'm pretty America has.
a little bit of politics.
Oh, we've
there,
got a wonderful thing here at the moment. All the people who've been saying all lives matter instead of Black Lives Matter are now saying all lives matter, except for those people coming over from France in dinghies.
We're very backwards sometimes.
The doctor
I've said
skips
for a couple of
here.
years now, we are as a society, we're on a pivotal point, and it's down to us which way we go. Are we going to go backwards, or are we actually going to be brave enough to take that leap forwards and learn that something like political correctness or not being racist isn't something bizarre, unusual, that you have to make a real effort for doing. It's just being kind. It's just... I've said this before, I don't see colour on this show because I grew up in an island where there were no black people, and when I moved over here it just seems normal. It was just I accepted it. It's just how it is. This, people are people are people are people. God knows how I got like that, because I'm from Jersey, and that's island of the Daily Mail readers. So
But just to think how brave a move it would have been for Chang if that had been cast by even just an Asian
that's a
actor,
question
an
that
Asian
Andy did ask, because obviously I've been chatting to him before the show. Name me a Chinese actor in Britain
Mako.
in 1977, apart from Burt Kwok.
Yeah, that's who I would have said.
That's a
There's Mako. I know
impossible
that.
question.
It doesn't make
But
it right.
I'm sure that
What's his name?
I'm
The
sure
guy
there were
that they're
Asian
trying to
actors out.
get in,
Hang on,
Hollywood
everyone's talking
Star-
over each other. Hang on a second. Brian, you go.
There's a guy they're trying to get in. He was in Big Trouble in Little China. He played the bad guy in it. He's been in like dozens of movies. Christ, I forgot.
But if
his
he
name.
was in America, then Britain wouldn't have really been able to have him.
Right,
would we?
right. But I'm just saying, Asian actor. I think he was in the 70s. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan was in the
Again,
70s.
completely unable to get him. You know, it's and it is a telling thing.
But you know what? There was a ton of Asian actors in minor roles being forced to act. Well, not forced to act, but their part was written for them to be cowardly. Why not one of them? Why not try to go really, really bold and put an Asian actor in that role? Didn't need to be a known person. Audition, put someone in there, because Chang goes through a character arc, and at the end of this, comes across as he becomes heroic. He makes sacrifice. I would have been probably more forgiving if this episode and its flaws had that there been an Asian actor in that lead role. That for me, that would have been Doctor Who at its best, a brave, bold move, and they didn't do it, which is a bit of disappointment.
Yep, David Yip. Unfortunately, he wasn't big back then, back in 1977. The Chinese detective.
Would have been young too. Too young.
Yeah.
If it was the 80s.
Kari Hiryoku Tagawa.
Oh yeah, he would have been good too. I know who she's talking about.
Okay, thank you.
He was in oh god, the one with Sean Connery.
The one with Sean Connery.
Red Sun?
Hunt for the Red October?
Something like that. No, not Red October.
Not a Bond film, was it?
No, it wasn't a Bond film. It was about a corporate takeover type deal. He was also in Mortal Kombat in Miami Vice. He was on a CBS sci-fi show.
I must profess, I would like to ask Philip Hinchcliffe why he chose John Bennett. All right, it's the director's choice, David Maloney. But the producer could have turned around and said, I want an Asian person in this role, please. And he did. Well, I say he didn't. I mean, 9 times out of 10, the answer is normally the best actor for the role. But was it in this case?
The prosthesis that he had to wear was horrible. I expected any minute for him to rip off his face and, it's the Master.
The Master.
It was that bad. It was like, we know he's wearing it.
Yeah,
we know it's just rip it off and do something. No.
The answer was, it was just that's how it was done at the time. You think of Charlie Chan, you think of the Fu Manchu pictures. It was always the lead role was cast.
One of everybody's favourite films is Murder by Death.
Rising Sun, yes, thank you.
Which features all sorts of cliched detectives, including the yellow-faced Chinese detective. It's an eye-opener, looking back at it now, having been... Enlighten's the wrong word, because...
It's just that it was a wasted opportunity. I think Doctor Who could have done something special, and that with just one move. With just one simple move, it could have been a transitionary step.
Yeah, we said apart from Burt Quark there, Radox. What I want to sort of say is... This is going to come up in Life on Mars, which we are looking at each episode by episode. The whole racism side of things. There is an episode where Sam Tyler meets someone he knows from the future who's now a superintendent or something like that, and he's a black man. But Sam meets him at the start of his career, and he's making the same sort of jokes that Charlie presented Mr. and Mrs. I think presented the Golden Shot. Charlie Walker, a black comedian.
Oh, I know who you're talking
about. The trouble is, very
yeah.
softly spoken, very nice, but it's this thing of having to make jokes about themselves to get the audience to laugh, rather than, and this is what this character was doing in Life on Mars, he's playing up to the stereotype. And Sam, thankfully, does actually say, what the fuck are you doing? which is why I'm glad we're also doing Life on Mars in this. It is a shame Andy's not here. He's a Fu Manchu expert.
Charlie
He knows his
Williams.
Sherlock Holmes. We would have had extra stuff to do with all that sort of thing. And we would have had some fascinating Fu Manchu facts, actually. But let's move on. Because all this fell into place accidentally. I only discovered what it was going to be like when I listened to Lovecraft Invasion, the new Big Finish play. I had no idea that Lovecraft was a very incredibly nasty person, racist as hell, sexist, and God knows what else. And that's why I thought, well, let's try and make this show a little bit more than what it normally is. Basically, the sixth Doctor Who, Flip and Constance are on the heels of an awful enemy sort of thingy. It's a weapon, a living weapon, that can basically take over people and make their imaginations come to life, and then destroy a planet using it. And they've got, I don't know if she's a bounty hunter or what she is, but she's got somebody called Calypso Jones who's with them from this previous adventure, because we come straight in on the beginning of the chase. And the question I have been asked by somebody is, whilst it's right to point out Lovecraft's racism and everything, why would the alien have specifically chosen Lovecraft when there were a lot worse people than Lovecraft, hard as it is to say, in that time and place? I mean, we're talking 1937. Hitler was in power. But this is a 2020 take on something, that, whereas Talons is a 1977 take. Now, I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed it a lot. And Colin Baker's Doctor has the most beautiful speech and heartfelt speech at the end, talking to Lovecraft. And it needed to be said. And I am playing devil's advocate here, I'm sorry. Do you think they made too much of the attacks on Lovecraft for this, or is it a case of you can't have too much? Somebody fill in on that one. I'm playing devil's advocate. I just want to see what you think. These aren't my own thoughts, as far as I'm concerned. Let him have it. But
no, I thought they handled it just right. In terms of the whole thing around Lovecraft, I was a bit like yourself, Siobhan. I'd seen
I had
the
no
Lovecraftian
idea.
films. I had
No
no
idea.
idea either. So it was a bit of an eye opener. I don't think it was handled put on with a trowel. It was a case of there was an element of he was more to be pitied than anything else. He didn't survive very long. He died relatively young. And the question that Constance and Flip, or one of them asks, is around whether was he the product of his upbringing, and had he lived longer, would there be a chance that he'd actually maybe have evolved a bit, grew up and changed? Guess we'll never know. But
I love.
I had a
Sorry, go on.
No, you go. No,
I was just going to say, I love the fact he thought we could have a friend in Constance, because she's only 3 years in his future. But as she turns around and says, "Yeah, that might be the case, mate, but I'm fighting the logical extreme of your views at the moment."
Yep. Hitler.
With the Nazis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I knew about Lovecraft's racism to begin with, going into it. I'm pretty much Flip's cousin.
Oh, you love. That's nice.
Well, no, I love Call of Cthulhu.
I've only played it a couple of times. I kept
There's
losing
also
sanity points.
There's a thing out by Modicius, Achtung Cthulhu. Cthulhu during World War II. Huge fan of that. You get to shoot Nazis all day long. It's fun.
Bizarre.
Hey.
Written by a
find me
Nazi, written by a
graphic
Nazi,
that
but
makers love, it's punching Nazis. Okay?
yeah, punching Nazis is always good. Punching fascists is always good as well.
But yeah, I knew about it. I think I remember reading that later on, towards the end of his life, he was modifying his views a little bit, but I can't really confirm that or deny it. I believe I read it in a forum or something.
Okay, Dom, what did you make of it? I don't know how I have no idea how much Big Finish you've listened to, so taking it on its own merits. And we can't hear you again, love. I'm sorry. And he's frozen.
Voice froze.
Dom, we can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, reboot.
Hang on. Let's
He's
wait and see.
coming back.
Let's wait and see. It's the tension I can't take. It's the tension.
It's good to be on the other side of this for a change.
Yeah, now you know what we go through with you.
Yeah, apologies.
Hi, Dom. No, he's frozen again.
We need to find out who his internet service provider is.
I think there might be a phone. Hi, Hearts. Yeah, we started 46 minutes ago. Don't worry about it. Dominic.
Right. Oh, what?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
And you're frozen.
I'll be honest with you, I'd rather
can you hear
you
me
could
now?
at least hear him so we can hear what he has to say.
We can hear you, Dominic. We can hear you. Don't know if you can hear us. So Cthulhu, Brian, is that supposed to be some sort of Zulu figure, or
Any
No, Cthulhu is a
sign of life?
elder alien god that crashed Earth.
right?
There's a very good reference that the elder gods were the elder gods. Well, the elder gods are, the elder gods were, the elder gods will be.
Well, if you'd listen to All Consuming Fire, one of the elder gods is in that as well. What camera do I have, Hearts? I can't remember what it's called. As soon as I find out, I will. There's a good chance I'll throw in the box away, to be honest. But as soon as I find out, I will tell you. Don't worry.
Can you hear us, Dominic?
Oh,
Oh,
dead air.
that's suspense.
I know. He's going to fit in well.
Certainly
Bugging
will.
me now. It's an unusual one. I got it off Amazon, and I can't remember what it's called.
At the risk of my son, who's in the chat room, of basically
Hi, Sean.
claiming that I'm woke, did for something that made a good point in terms of Lovecraft? So it was the bit in there that he was a homophobe, but one of his best friends was gay. He had Jewish friends, but he was Semitic. It was the contradictions and everything. Very
That's
good piece
just
of writing,
it.
and I really enjoyed this.
I mean, I knew some people, neighbours of mine, and they're the sort of people I wouldn't normally have anything to do with because they're Britain First lot. They're, UKIP, Britain First, Tommy Robinson, all that nonsense. And ordinarily I would just say, nope, not having this, and just walk away. Except this time around I didn't. I sort of, every time they raise something, I will, I'll say, no, look, here are the facts. There is no point. Absolutely no point, because you cannot get through to them.
No.
Logic, fact, science, it doesn't matter compared to what they believe.
Yeah.
And
Dominic!
I stopped. Dom!
You're alive!
Speak to us, Dominic. Okay, he can't hear us. Headphones.
Doesn't have his headphones on.
Headphones. Can't hear you.
We can see you.
But we can't speak. Somebody else want to do the third wise monkey? We got... We can't hear you, I'm afraid, Dom. And I don't think you can hear us. Hang on a second, let's try.
Oh, he's so much better than me than this. He's took this to another level.
I know, it's... There we go.
Oh, you can hear us?
1 1
Can
2
you
2
hear
1
us?
1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, you can hear us. We can't hear you.
Don't stress, Dominic.
We can't hear you. Don't worry, this is normal for this show.
Oh, I thought I heard them a little bit there.
I thought I heard something then.
Oh
Yep.
dear.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes,
I heard.
yes.
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 Hooray! You were saying, Dominic. Oh,
So the risk of being controversial and losing my oh, he's come back. He's come back.
I'm sorry, that was just
If you
perfect
don't turn
timing.
on the camera, it might take too much bandwidth from you.
Yeah, just go voice. Just
Go
voice only.
Just voice only, Dom. Or not. Well, look, we've got a thumbnail of him. It's a good thumbnail. We like that thumbnail.
Ooh, he's trying the camera
I know.
again. Brave
Oh.
lad.
I really do want to hear what he thinks about this. Because it's a depiction of something like that from 77 to 2020. The compare and contrast.
Well,
You know?
then there's the also comparison that does Lovecraft's views taint his work afterward? I mean, do you enjoy his work less?
I do not
Nope.
have any experience of Lovecraft to be able to say that.
Okay, let's go with the modern one then.
The modern one.
The modern one.
The modern Lovecraft.
Okay, you enjoy the Harry Potter books, right?
I did.
Bad example. Bad
No,
example.
it's exactly the example he's making. He's exactly the
Good
example.
Knowing the author's views now, do they taint the product?
It's like myself and Sean, right? Big Smiths and Morrissey fans, but seeing how Morrissey now view of the world compared to the socialist Morrissey from the 80s, that's a good point. I still enjoy music from the Smiths and some early Morrissey. I try and take away from that his views now are just totally abhorrent.
Actually, saying that, Shatner's having a thing about being called cis. He thinks it's an insult. But that's Shatner. Dominic,
There is
speak to us. He's not
can
speaking
see
to us. Speak!
He's trying to.
Can you hear me? I'm trying
Yes!
to speak.
Don't worry about...
Turn off the camera.
Don't worry
Turn
about
off
the camera.
Save your bandwidth.
Turn the camera off. Just go microphone.
Just go voice.
Just go voice. It'll save bandwidth. Speak to us, love. Speak to us.
Is there anyone there?
I was just going to say that. And I was going to top it with I love a happy
Like
medium.
Vince.
Fools seldom differ.
Hey, who turned out all the lights?
Okay, obviously Dom...
Does that help, Dominic? Does that help?
No, it's just turning this
I've
whole
turned
thing
the
into
lights off.
complete chaos now.
Right. Whilst we're
Hello,
waiting for Dominic coming
core-eyed
back-
kitten.
I feel like I'm at work.
I just think that we've reached another standard and level of professionalism tonight.
We had this entire super serious show going on.
Yep. I had big plans for tonight. It's not a problem. Now, hopefully Dom will be back. We're going to carry on because we can't be here until the crack of doom, or at least until the pickles run out. Prize for who gets that reference.
Can I just make one point then?
Yes, of course you
so
can.
it's a different ways of handling potentially sensitive subject, and good play to Big Finish to take the whole Lovecraftian thing, and actually it was very educational. Have you had a look at the cast? Have you had a look in terms of, so this was a play that talks about, I'm going to be controversial, I might lose my Big Finish stripes. It was an all-white cast. So surely with this, Calypso Jones couldn't have been from a minority. It's that kind of.
Hang on, Calypso Jones herself she's self-described as trans.
Pan.
It's
Pan,
everything, but
with like some alien in her.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the actual cast itself. The cast is
cast.
It was something I know when we did the.
They're doing it with The Simpsons too.
Oh yes, AP.
Yeah, they're going to be having minority voice actors do minority characters.
Bloody time! Except stop making them minority characters, make them major characters.
Exactly.
We have an awful lot to learn. We still do. America is playing out the world's problems at the moment.
America is self-destructive.
America is the stage where we're seeing what could be. And I should imagine to a certain extent it's going to be how America falls in November and how it comes together afterwards.
Can you hear me now?
Yes! That's perfect. Don't worry about video. Don't worry about video.
Okay, I think my phone was just generally overheating.
I'm not surprised. I'm overheating. You don't want to imagine that.
You're sounding much clearer as well, Dominic. You're sounding much clearer.
Oh, that's good. I think it's just because I reset I literally did I turn it on and off again. Trick.
Brilliant. And Brian would approve.
Nice.
Tech 101. Always do that.
Don't worry, love. Like I say, we're used to all this. It's normal. You're not standing out at all. Eddie's a bit pissed off that you're sort of doing it instead of him.
Yeah.
But
this is me. I do this every week and I haven't done it yet. You've stole it from me. That's great. Fine. I bequeath this to you. This is your thing.
It's passed on.
A new kid stealing your shtick.
I bequeath it.
Don't worry, Eddie. You'll still get the Unworthy of the Diamond logo picture at least once a show. Dominic, can you talk to us, please, about the Lovecraft invasion? Your thoughts on the story and how they handled Lovecraft.
Okay, so I listened to over the course of the past 2 nights, and I honestly, my perspective on it is that I think it's just a very good story in terms of how it handles Lovecraft's racism, because, like many people, I didn't know he was a raging racist until I heard about this particular story and saw the discussion about it being he was, well, a raging racist and a xenophobe. So I listened to it all the way through, and it was almost refreshing to hear the Doctor coming across a historical figure that he really did not want anything to do with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's usually all about meeting all the historical figures like Charles Dickens, Agatha Christie, H.G. Wells, and he was just really just like very apprehensive, and it made for such a new and refreshing dynamic, while also educating the audience in a way, and that it was actually bringing up all those historical facts about him and just painting him in this not such a good light. And it really also brought in that whole matter of, do you separate the art from the artist? And the Doctor was just almost essentially said no. So he I believe he said something along the lines that he didn't check out Lovecraft's works because of his views.
Well, his views did inform his work, didn't they?
Yes. And so I thought it was a particularly bold route to go down as well, because taking a cultural figure who not many people, I guess, would know the true history of, and also just giving the truth and putting it out there.
You see...
The,
Oh, sorry, carry on, please.
oh, so I was going to say, but it was also nicely put together by the character of Calypso as well, the non-binary bounty hunter, which again is a very a good way to contrast by putting two extremes against each other.
This release was delayed for a month.
Hmm.
And people have been saying that Big Finish basically delayed it to try and... strange things. There's Eddie. He's done his thing. You've got competition, Dom. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah, man.
It is on.
It's happened. It's happened.
4-1 on the Scotsman.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, I'm going to try and put my camera on. Sorry, please bear with. Normal service will be resumed.
This is normal service, love.
Holding old flannel to the back of my phone.
Back. See, that's how you do it, Dominic. That's how you do it. I just saying, that's how you do it. Short but sweet.
Oh, come on. As an introduction to it, he was superb.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a bit forced, to be quite honest, but I'll critique that later.
Okay. So people have been saying that Big Finish delayed it deliberately because the Black Lives Matter movement really took hold in America and over here and indeed around the world. And as such, they delayed it to squeeze in some extra things about Lovecraft to make the point. Now, I'm going to talk now with my professional hat on as a producer.
Yeah.
To do something like that would have been one big undertaking. First of all, they're in lockdown, so they're either got to get recording equipment and decent soundproofing around to somebody else's house. Now, they've done that in the past, but we're talking huge, a very short amount of time and a lot to be done. The script's got to be adjusted. You then have to contract, or recontract rather, everybody involved who's going to have anything to do with this new stuff. But that also includes, of course, the writer, it includes the producer, it includes the musicians and sound editors. I genuinely do not think Big Finish put this on hold for a month just to try and signal virtue. I really
think
don't.
That's impossible. I think that's just logistically impossible.
Yeah, as a producer, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
No, I can't say. And I know the guys. That's not the sort of thing they do. When they decide they want to make a point, they will make it and they'll do it fully planned, which means that this Lovecraft thing was there from the start.
Mm.
It's interesting.
And that is just to show that the boldness of Robert Valentine's script.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just that. I don't know. Quite frankly, I'd like to say it wasn't bold. I'd like to say that's the new norm. But
that would be very refreshing to see. It's just you don't see a lot of works going on. I want to say a mainstream medium like Big Finish. Would it be? Could we call it mainstream now? But coming from
mainstream for us. But remember, we live in a tiny puddle.
Yeah, true. Well, either way, I'm very impressed.
And like I said, it is interesting to see the different approaches to race from 1977 or 76 to 2020. Now we move into the middle section of that, and we talk about life on Mars. Now, long-term readers of The Flashing Blade will know that we have at the very least done the last series of Ashes to Ashes. Every week we'd have a theory from Joe as to what was going on, otherwise known as Joe Gets It Wrong. I don't know if we did Life on Mars itself. So, there's a detective, Sam Tyler even. Oh, great start. And he's trying to catch a murder suspect, and it's looking a bit nasty. And he's there in his office, and he's saying to his missus, who works with him, look, we can't get emotional on this. We can't go by gut feelings. Because she's got a gut feeling, and she takes advantage of that gut feeling and goes and looks into it and finds herself being the next person that this bad guy's caught. Sam is obviously really upset about all this and pulls over on a slip road gets out of the car to get a couple of, breaths of fresh air and to compose himself, and gets hit by a car. And wakes up in 1973. Would you do, don't you? That's
Yeah,
the normal
that's
thing. He finally manages to get back
I did it a couple times.
to his office, except the office has completely changed. It's a dirty, smelly, funky, smoke-ridden room with some awful fashions. And
the lapels.
he's been demoted to Detective Inspector, not Detective Chief Inspector, because the Chief Inspector and his boss is the now legendary Gene Hunt. And from then on in, we have to play the game. Brian, you've only seen the first episode of this, so I'm going to come to you first here, love, because considering what you've been saying, I'm fascinated to see. Talk to us about this, please.
Okay. It was really hard for me to get into.
Do you know why?
I don't know why. I mean, I like police procedurals. I watched CSI and stuff, but this I just couldn't get into. I'm agreeing with you. The fashions. Oh my freaking God! I'm glad I was a kid. I didn't have a choice but to dress however they gave me. But yeah, I just could not get into this thing at all. I watched it. I get the whole, okay, I'm in a coma, or am I?
Or has he gone back in time? Or has he gone mad? Exactly. What is it, Brian? Because that's what we're going to ask you every week.
Oh, I don't care.
That's Brian's answer at the moment.
I honestly don't care about this guy. I love John Sims, though. I love him as the master, and I like what he does. I watched Intruders with him in it. I don't care about this. I have no dog in this race at all.
Yet.
At all. I'm not.
Eddie, you know Brian as well as I do. Kiwi Haws.
Oh, yeah, Ashes to Ashes might be a different proposition altogether. You just have to bear with us for a couple of series.
Can you do that, Brian? Can
it
you?
will be worth the wait.
I will. Here, I will do this. I will make a solemn vow to bear with you for a couple series, but I will whinge.
You may not do yet. You may be
I
surprised.
reserve my God-given right to whinge.
The thing is, there wasn't a huge amount of British cultural references thrown in there. There was the Open University that we used to get.
Yep.
You will see a lot more, and you will meet Test Card Girl. And what I'm going to ask you is this. This will be the question I'm going to ask you for Life on Mars, certainly. Who is Test Card Girl? You haven't met her yet, so I'm not expecting an answer.
Okay.
All right, but that's going to be the question. Dominic, what did you make of it?
Well, I have to be honest. I completely forgot to watch it ahead of this, so I'm going.
Oh, he's really. This is. You are
quality.
Quality. This podcast.
Yes, you're in. Yep,
you're in.
Definitely.
Yep.
Oh God.
The perfect response. A panicked. Oh God.
Oh God. But going on, I can only go on it truly from memory because my mind was so Lovecraft, Talons, Doctor Who.
I'll tell you what you got to do next week. You'll enjoy it.
Two episodes.
Not the gunfighters.
No, not the gunfighters.
Oh, thank God.
But well, I watched Life on Mars on broadcast years back, and I do actually quite the concept of it being like with the coma and everything, just that sheer fantasy aspect. It always struck me as more of a fantasy than anything else because of that whole, back in time, police procedural sort of. It kind of gave me aspect. Has any of you seen Grimm?
Yes, I love Grimm.
Yeah, when I was watching Grimm, I was just like, this gives me slight vibes because of all that whole, this is combining genres, where we got the police procedural genre now merging with a fantasy genre, like with Grimm, we had like the fairy tales, with this, we have time travel. I thought it was just
obviously just trying to recall any semblance of dredges from the memory. If you can't tell, I'm probably grasping at straws. But
My
yeah.
apologies. I'm just saying goodbye to Brig Lover. She's got to go. She's at work at 4 a.m. again.
Oh, good God.
I know.
Poor woman.
But the character of Gene Hunt, absolute good God, wow. He is
A monster, isn't he?
Yeah, he is quite monstrous. And one of my best friends is a complete John Sim enthusiast in every single way, and he just really irritates the hell out of her. Is just him himself, even though he's become a real figurehead of the show, he is truly something.
See, the question, I got a couple of questions I've got to ask here. First of all, Brian, did you watch the Sweeney that I sent you?
Yes, I did. No, the Sweeney Money is not available.
Oh, you see, that would explain Gene
I
Hunt
did
to
watch
you.
another Sweeney episode, though.
Oh, that's fine. We're with Regan and Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the first episode with the bank, with the thieves and the...
Yeah. It's so you've got an essential thing of who Gene Hunt is based upon. It's Jack Regan, basically. Eddie, you're the last one on this. Do you want to say something profound?
Right. Oh God, no pressure then.
He's frozen again.
So I want. It was it's just a nostalgia piece for me. I love this program. I love I love David Bowie. I'm a huge Angela and me are huge David Bowie fans. Just hearing "Life on Mars," that song, on his 2006 type iPod, I just goosebumps. That takes me back into that program.
Interesting. So you're getting nostalgia about nostalgia.
Yes, it's nostalgia.
It's nostalgia recursion.
About something from 2006, but it's nostalgia about something from 1973. Yeah, my head's going to explode. I'll keep the hat on.
I do agree. The soundtrack was amazing.
Oh, it gets better, man. It just gets better.
Wait
till it hits the 80s.
It was me and Angela watched it this morning, and it was the fact that so Angela was like, "They're not in London," and no, because the first season's in Manchester, and it but Hunt's a Londoner, and it's like, no, that's Jack Regan, and it was just, but it was even things like that. He's watching TV, and it's the Open University. It was like, I remember the Open University. Oh, it used to come on at midnight. It just.
But the thing is, they're taking those familiar things from our nostalgia, and they're twisting them.
Twisting it because then the guy starts talking to him. But it was even the thing about, remember when you could smoke in an office? And smoke. It was.
I do.
Yeah, and then it became the smoking room. Then it became the smoking shelter.
It's right.
It's a slow burner, Brian. It does get more and more twisted and convoluted in timey-wimey as week goes on. But
it's
Life
one
on
to
Mars is one of my favorites.
hold on. Just hold on, Brian.
I'll hold on.
You don't have to.
You guys should watch Intruders, though. Intruders was really good. John Sims, one season. Definitely watch it.
Okay, I'll have to look for that.
Do you know, watching this backwards as well, so having watched all the way through to End Ashes to Ashes, and then going through it, clues are laid for this in episode 1. It's so cleverly done.
So the question you are quite right. I mean, it's interesting now having a rewatch of this, knowing the end of Ashes to Ashes.
Yeah.
However, that's not the end of it, because they've basically turned around and said they are making a new series, which is going to be both Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes. Both Alex and Sam will be in it.
Lazarus, isn't it?
I'm not sure what it's called. But well, what I want to know is, remember I was saying a little bit earlier about Sam meeting his black colleague and the various the way he took the piss out of himself to stop them taking the piss out of him so he'd fit in, etc. And the various depictions of things, certainly in the 70s, not maybe quite so much in the 80s, would they be allowed to get away with putting it on television, even though it's criticised? Would they be allowed to put it on television today compared to when Life on Mars was originally broadcast?
Allowed, yes, but would they really do it because they know it would be a firestorm. It would either be, you know, oh, this is a true depiction, or immediately canceled.
It's an interesting thing. They're going to. Oh, there's a motorbike. That's nice. Dom, what do you reckon? Come on, the youth. Tell us what the youth says.
The youth.
The youth.
I mean, thinking about it like that is it's a very weird thought. What it came at about 2007, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Sam is named after Rose, Sam Tyler.
Yeah. So I feel that it would definitely be probably a bit more controversial in these days, especially with the younger, the Twitter generation, shall we say. I imagine that. Oh my goodness. I imagine that it would definitely, people would be questioning these attitudes. It depends. I feel like they would have modified the portrayal of those sort of events and make it a bit more blunter, as that they're trying to parody and criticize it if it was aired in 2020. I think that production in that regards has become a bit tighter. I would say, although I don't think they probably would have toned down various elements like Gene. So I feel like it would be impossible for a direct lift of the 2007 version to go into a 2020 version. I do think compromises and sacrifices would be made in that regard.
I'm terribly sorry, I had to blow my nose. I think you're right. But it's going to be interesting to see whether they actually do. What's it, Matthew Graham and Ashley Farrow, whether they do compromise. Or
yes,
if they'll go for it and say, look, we're calling it out. But this is what it was like. So I don't know. This is why I was so looking forward to this particular episode. Like I say, when I heard the Lovecraft thing, everything just dropped into place. Oh, it's just a shame Andy's not here to discuss the Fu Manchu Sherlock Holmes side of it, because he really knows his stuff.
With Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes, though, you deduct juxtaposition of Hunt with a character who had more modern sensitivities there to counterbalance it. That's why for me it worked. That's why there was somebody there to criticise it.
At some stage, I've got to introduce Brian.
You can see his eyes roll too during a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my god.
You've not seen anything yet. Trust me. Wait, I mean, this is the pilot episode, so
right.
You know, you can't really judge by instant appearances. However, I am going to have to introduce you to Campbell Green.
Gesundheit?
Yeah. I need to introduce you to Campbell Green before we get to the second series of Life on Mars. It's important.
Oh, yes. Yes. Absolutely.
I'll probably link you up with Mr. Dalek Invades Trumptonshire as well. That's a good one.
Yes.
Right. Let's try and get back to normal. I'm too hot. I'm just melting here.
Normal odds. Come on.
Brian, what happened in the RPG last night? You get.
Well, after you guys screwed over the world,
it's true.
You're now running from the Night Lords. You broke into the New York Museum of Natural History.
The door was open. I just pushed it. Using my super strength.
You can bench press a truck. You just pushed it. You stole a necklace from Cool and Goth, which... Good going!
Well, Spidey did. Oh, no, we got the necklace out of the museum before the bad guys got to it.
Justine is now wearing it, which is
worrying.
Actually... Well, it's actually better than other members of your party wearing it.
Fair enough, she can suffer all the bad stuff. Talking of which, Chloride Kitten, is that Jess?
No.
I don't know what that noise was. I think it was the dawning of realization or something. I no idea, quite frankly. And you've made Sinister think he's invincible, haven't you?
Yes, Sinister is now Superman.
Yeah. What happened, Brian?
The accountant with the mighty foot of doom. And I may have killed Spider-Man.
You did kill Spider-Man.
Oh.
Basically, Sinister thought, because his character has purely reactionary powers, he can't institute anything. So he thought he's only just, it's a brand new character, so he doesn't know what he's doing with it. And no, it's all right, love. It's not a problem. It's all right. I was just wondering if it was. Anyway, and so he goes up to this bad guy and kicks the bad guy, thinking...
Oh.
And I don't know how else to put it, but he
It's
rolled
just
very
the
well, and you rolled very badly.
And it was just so comedic, I had to go with it.
The
It
trouble
was
is,
one
you've
of those-
made him think he's invincible now.
Yes. And then on the second kick, he whiffs.
Yes, it's the second one he missed entirely.
I had to go with it.
So, right then, here we go. I'm turning into the events calendar now. Right. Next Wednesday at 10 p.m. UK time, at 4 p.m. Sorry, 5 p.m. Eastern. No, 10:30,
5:30.
isn't it? Yeah. So
Yeah.
10:30 UK, 5:30 Eastern. We're doing the live reaction, which is The Empty Child.
Oh, is that the Ninth Doctor? I wish
Yeah.
he'd do more. I wish he'd do more Doctor Who.
If
One
only.
season just wasn't enough.
I know, it'd be terrible.
know.
I
Never happened.
do feel so sorry for Pete Walsh. Pete Walsh
Oh,
does
yeah.
as absolutely superb Chris Eccleston.
I've heard his. It's so good. It's one of the best around.
Now, I know how I felt when they announced Bradley for Big Finish. So I'm pretty sure I know how Pete feels. It's a gut punch, but it's an understandable gut punch, because why wouldn't you? You know, why wouldn't you? Hi, Chris.
We still have our number one Hartnell.
Your Hartnell is sublime.
Oh, thank you. Let's move away from that. Yes, so that's Wednesday. Next Saturday evening, we've got the RPG. That's 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Next Sunday is the Flashing Blade podcast. It's this again. Do you want to know what you're doing this week, guys?
Someone
I'm
takes
afraid to
space
ask.
lot too.
Do you trust Auntie?
No.
How so how comfortable with you with what Brian did to you last night on the
Yeah,
RPG?
yeah. How
Did you enjoy it?
comfortable were you with me killing off Spider-Man by using Daredevil?
Well, if you remember rightly, Eddie, we had a little discussion about this on Wednesday night, where I thought I would turn around and be nice to Brian in the hope that he'd reciprocate in the RPG.
How did that
That
work?
was nice.
He killed Spider-Man, Eddie.
You killed Spider-Man.
You weren't dead. I didn't kill the thing that you know of.
So, next week, Dominic, take notes, because this includes you,
Okay.
my love.
Okay.
Doctor Who and the Silurians, and your introduction to the Crumhorn. It's a good one. It's a Pertwee one. It's only 7 episodes, Brian. You'll be fine.
Oh, I love Silurians.
We are doing the new Big Finish 5th Doctor anthology, Time Apart. Oh, look, they're making notes. Oh, this is so sweet.
Always do. It's
And
called
we're
Age.
looking at
I don't think
episode
you're gonna
2.
forget.
We're looking at episode 2 of Life on Mars, which is the first proper one. That's it. Nice and simple. Nothing outrageous. Nothing terrible to hurt you. We're easing Dominic in nice and carefully, basically. Don't want to lose him.
Hooray!
We haven't done Time Flight
if
yet.
this
That's
is-
all I'm saying.
If this is what we get when you kill off Spider-Man, kill more off. Brian, fill your boots. Keep going.
Don't worry. Oh, wait.
No. No,
that works.
I now need to respond to Brian killing Spidey, you see.
Hey, I didn't kill the thing. That was your one red line.
Yeah, that was my red
get
line,
one.
quite frankly.
One red line.
You can't kill Benjamin. I'm sorry.
He might not be
In
dead.
2 weeks' time, I hope we'll have either Andy Lane or Adam Purcell with us. However, I honestly am not sure what we can... Because he was perfect for Lovecraft and Talons. He knows Fu Manchu, he knows Lovecraft, he knows Sherlock Holmes. And the sod ended up in hospital. I'm not going to forgive him for this. Quite frankly.
Yes, you will.
So either Andy or hopefully Adam Purcell. We shall have to wait and see. And depending who we have on, depends what sort of a story we're going to be watching. However,
because
as
I
it
have to come up with a
stands,
whole adventure for Adam to explain why he's not in the RPG.
that's true. However, I do know that if things carry on as they're going, not next week, not the week after, the next week after that, you're going to hate me. And I can't help it, because doing them like this is Doctor Who lore. It's the lore, Brian. The lore. I'm not going to tell you what it's called. Warriors on the Cheap.
Oh my god.
There's the response of the youth, you see.
I'm just saying Ben Grimm's lifeline is, hanging by a thread.
Oh, you want war, do you, Brian? Remember, we have... Listen, I'm sorry. Listen, love. There's civilians here in the firing line. Do you really want this?
Hmm?
This is the trouble. You've got one person running one night, one person running the other night. When it becomes war, it's not good. Right then. So shall we go?
We had Eddie to make suffer. Now we have Dominic to make suffer too.
I don't want to make
boy.
Dominic suffer. He's too nice. Oh, and, well, we're going to have to sing our way out, it seems. We're going to have to sing our way out of the show. Anybody know the
Dominic,
words?
This is a rite of passage. So, Dominic, over to you. You sing as well.
What?
Yep.
Don't be
I can't see anything.
cruel. We want him to
You need me to
stay.
sing.
I'm not going to sing it. Look, if you want to hear my version of Fight, the theme to the Flashing Blade, it's on my SoundCloud and very probably my YouTube channel. There you go. I have done a version. Right, say goodbye, boys.
Goodbye, boys.
Goodbye, boys.
Farewell.